easy as beating a puppy to death with a kitten!
Welcome to the dark, twisted alleys of Gotham City, where the line between sanity and madness blurs like the graffiti on a Joker-painted wall. If you think dealing with one psychopathic killer is tough, imagine a whole gallery of them. It's a convention for deranged lunatics in the city, and everyone's invited. You see, while the caped Crusader and his ever-expanding Bat family are doing their best to put a dent in Gotham's crime rate, there's a gruesome truth lurking in the shadow. Crime here isn't just about the occasional petty theft or a bank heist gone wild. Oh no, we're talking about a different breed altogether. The psychotic serial killers. In this video, we're diving headfirst into the minds of these mentally disturbed villains, exploring their depravity and trying to understand what makes them tick. But be warned, it's not for the faint of heart. We'll be navigating through some of the darkest corners of Gotham, where human life seems to hold as much value as a batarang. Are you ready? Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you, let's begin.
Action compared to what I've got up my sleeve.
The Joker. This is the twisted world of the clown prince of crime himself, the Joker. If you thought Batman had some colorful villains, wait till you meet this homicidal maniac with a laugh that can make your hair stand on end. The Joker is as unpredictable as a squirrel on a sugar rush, and he's got absolutely zero regard for human life. To him, murder and mayhem are like the punchlines of a twisted joke. With a body count stretching into the thousands, it's safe to say this guy had a pretty wicked obsession with the Dark Knight. The Joker loves to tell his origin story with more variations than there are colors of the rainbow. He's got so many versions of his past that he jokes about it being multiple choice, as if he's flipping through a choose-your-own-adventure book. But there's one thing that remains consistent across these twisted tales: his infamous plunge into a vat of chemicals that turned him into the ghastly figure we all know and fear. The Joker emerged from that chemical dip with skin as pale as a ghost, green hair that screams bad hair day, and a maniacal red smile that's etched into your nightmares forever. But hey, those toxic chemicals weren't all bad for him. Turns out he got a bunch of nifty superhuman perks out of the deal. He's like a real-life Deadpool, but without the quirky charm. Think pain resistance, toxic immunity, and even some tainted blood for good measure. If you thought the guy was already off his rocker, now he's got a whole new level of crazy. James Gordon Jr. Meet James Gordon Jr., son of the great Jim Gordon and Barbara Eileen Gordon, a family dynamic that's anything but ordinary. While his dear old dad was busy fighting crime as Batman's BFF in the GCPD, James Jr. took a different path. We're talking a psychopath level here, folks. The guy's a remorseless killer with a sinister streak that would make the Joker proud. Things start getting wild when mobster Carmine Falcone decided to make James Sr.'s life a living hell. A hitman named Johnny Vitti thought it was a grand idea to kidnap James as an infant. They threw the poor kid off a bridge, but never fear, the Dark Knight swooped in just in time to save the day. But life in Gotham was far from safe for little James and his mama. They made a quick escape, leaving behind the city's chaos and crime. Yet, like a boomerang, he found his way back to Gotham City madness. From the moment he could spell Batman, it was clear that this kid was different. Killing animals and taking them apart for fun? That's one disturbing hobby. And James Jr. may or may not have had a hand in a friend's disappearance while on vacation. Barbara's buddy, Bess Keller, went missing, and guess who was the prime suspect? You got it, our psychopath in the making. But that's not all, folks. James Jr. feels no remorse for anyone. He's like a walking empathy vacuum. The guy is so manipulative, he could give the Riddler a run for his riddles. Oh, and did I mention he's a master of hand-to-hand combat? Let's just say he didn't hold back in unleashing his aggression. Peak physical condition? Check. Fits of anger and violence? Double check. Victor Zsasz. This guy is harder to pin down than a greased-up penguin in a Gotham snowstorm. He's got no fancy pattern to his killings, just a morbid flair for posing his victims like life-sized action figures and marking his own skin with a kill tally like a demented scorecard. What's his motivation, you ask? Victor believes life is nothing but a miserable cycle of pain, like a bad rerun of a soap opera. And get this, he's convinced he's doing his victims a favor by releasing them from this cruel circus called existence. But don't let his homicidal tendencies fool you. Victor wasn't always this way. He used to be a high-flying big shot, running his own international company and swimming in wealth like Scrooge McDuck in a money bin. But then, life pulled a Gotham twist. His parents kicked the bucket in a boating accident, and our boy Victor plunged into a pit of depression. Think gambling. Think losing everything faster than a speeding Batmobile. It was like he woke up from a dream, realizing his life was emptier than his bank account. He felt like a mindless robot, driven by invisible forces he couldn't comprehend. And so, in a burst of enlightened wisdom, sarcasm intended, he decided the best way to escape his own emptiness was to start handing out gifts of death. Yep, he stabbed a homeless dude as his inaugural present for saving his sorry life. From that day on, Victor Zsasz decided to dedicate to liberating others from their so-called pointless existence. He's like Gotham's personal Grim Reaper, minus the hooded cloak and the scythe. Instead, he's armed with knives, a twisted mind, and a whole lot of psychopathic flair.
DCPD, then he's gonna need my help! Now!
Cornelius Stirk. Allow me to introduce you to Cornelius Stirk, the cannibalistic serial killer whose Batman's worst nightmare come to life. Now, Cornelius isn't your run-of-the-mill villain. He's got a nifty meta-human trick up his sleeve, the power to mess with your mind like a reality-bending magician. He can morph into comforting or horrifying figures, faster than the Flash on a caffeine bin. But here's the sick twist to his modus operandi. Stirk's idea of fun time is luring in the city's homeless, using his power to torture them with a fear like a sadistic puppet master. And wait for it, he believes that turning their hearts into some kind of soup fuels his already messed up abilities. Soup? Really? The journey into madness began when young Cornelius was tossed into Arkham Asylum at the tender age of 16. His crime? Trying to off a classmate. Clearly, he skipped the share and care lesson in kindergarten. But hey, don't think for a second that a stint in Arkham cured him. Oh no, quite the opposite. After some questionable psychic abilities encountered with his doctors, he managed to convince them he was as sane as the rest of us. Fast forward to his grand exit from the asylum, and what does he do? You guessed it. Stop taking his meds like a rebellious teen and level up into a full-fledged serial killer. Yeah, like Gotham needed more of those. Birthday Boy. Ray Salinger, Gotham's very own serial killer, aka Birthday Boy. And no, he's not here to bring you cake and presents. It's more like a horrifying birthday bash you'll never forget. He's working for the infamous Mayor Cobblepot, taking out political targets like a sinister hitman. And just to keep things interesting, he's also the first costume criminal Batman ever faced. But let me tell you, Birthday Boy's got some issues that even a dozen therapy sessions couldn't fix. He's got this creepy obsession with young girls who look like his very first kill, a 15-year-old girl named Amanda Grant. Now, when he flips that killer switch, he's a sight you won't want at your kid's birthday party. Picture a grown man wearing a burlap sack with eye holes and a party hat. Definitely not a fashion trend we'd recommend. And what's with the room decorated like a little girl's birthday bash? This guy's got some serious issues that even the Joker would side-eye. As his calling card, he leaves birthday candles around like some kind of twisted scavenger hunt. And the real kicker? He tells his victims to make a wish right before they meet their untimely end. I'm pretty sure those wishes don't involve a pony or a superhero action figure. And just to top it off, he's got this creepy cake with "Happy Birthday Amanda" written on it, like he's hosting a party for the ghost of his first victim. Flamingo. Meet Eduardo Flamingo, the deadly enforcer for the Penitente Cartel, also known as the Eater of Faces. And let me tell you, this guy is like the Terminator, but with a twisted craving for face feasts. Back in the day, he was a vigilante on a mission to take down the mob. But oh, the tables have turned. The mob got their dirty hands on him, performed some brain surgery magic, and voila! Flamingo's personality got a complete makeover. He went from being a family man to, well, a face-eating enforcer for the very cartel he once fought. Now, this dude's got a reputation that'd give Freddy Krueger some nightmares. One of the most feared assassins in the world. He's got a knack for chowing down on his victims' faces. Oh, and let's not forget his run-in with the Red Hood. Flamingo almost sent him to the great comic book shop in the sky if it wasn't for Dick Grayson stepping in as the new Batman. He swooped in like a bat out of, well, you know. When it comes to killing, Flamingo's got a record that's as impressive as a collector's edition comic book. Gabriel Santo can vouch for that. The guy's got a kill list longer than the Santa's naughty list. But here's the thing, Flamingo's not just some average hitman. No, he's a master assassin, a face-eating fiend, and he's a real sharpshooter with multiple firearms. That's right, fellas, he's like a walking armory, and you don't want to be on the receiving end of this deadly aim. The Dollmaker. Dollmaker, the twisted serial killer extraordinaire of Gotham City. This guy's got a family that'll make Addams Family look like the Brady Bunch. Barton Mathis had quite a messed up childhood. Forget picnics and soccer games. He went on hunting trips with his dear old dad. But these weren't your regular hunting trips with a rifle and some camo gear. Oh no, his dad was into a whole cannibalizing thing. Imagine watching your pops feast on people like they're appetizers at a freaky dinner party. And just when things couldn't get any worse, his father met his match in a young cop named James Gordon. Bang! Dad's down for the count. And Barton's life takes a real dark turn. After a brief stint in foster care, as if that could heal his messed up mind, Barton disappeared into the shadows. But he's back with a bang as the criminal Dollmaker. And no, it's not a DIY crafting show. It's something much worse. His mask? You guessed it, partially made of his dear old dad's skin. Now, brace yourselves for this real kicker. Why he's called the Dollmaker. This guy creates dolls out of his victim's skin and limbs like he's running a human art gallery. And get this, he's a skilled surgeon, which means he can make these dolls look like specific human beings. Forget wax figures at Madame Tussauds. This guy takes realism to the extreme. Professor Pig. Professor Pig is a deranged surgeon with a twisted obsession for perfection and a knack for kidnapping unsuspecting Gotham citizens. This guy's got a Pygmalion complex. No, not some highbrow literature reference, but an obsession with physical perfection. He's like the mad scientist version of a plastic surgeon gone haywire. He kidnaps poor folks from the streets of Gotham and horrifically transforms them into his obedient, mind-controlled Dollatrons. It's like a Frankenstein's monster meets a demented puppet show. Not your typical circus act, that's for sure. Oh, and did I mention he's also the ringleader of the Circus of Strange? Imagine a bunch of circus-themed meta-human criminals causing chaos and mayhem. Now, let's talk about Professor Pig's origins, or the lack thereof. It's like he sprouted out of a comic book plot hole. Supposedly, he was a chemist working for some top-secret government agency known as Spiral. But here comes the shocker. He got exposed to his own neurotoxin, designed to imitate Alzheimer's disease. The result? A schizophrenic lunatic with a newfound obsession for perfecting people. So there you have it, folks. Professor Pig, the surgeon turned kidnapper turned circus mastermind, with a not-so-normal obsession for the perfection. Arnold Etchison, the twisted serial killer abattoir, or as his mama named him, Arnold Etchison. Now this guy's got some real family issues, and I don't mean the typical Thanksgiving dinner kind. See, Abattoir was convinced his family was evil, and he had a super creepy way of dealing with it. He thought he could absorb some kind of life force by offing them and desecrating their corpses. So when he busted out of Arkham Asylum for a little me time, guess what he did? Yep, he went on a killing spree through his own flesh and blood. And who had to swoop in and save the day? None other than the Dark Knight himself. But that's not even the craziest part. Turns out Abattoir's escape was a family affair. His cousin arranged it all to boost his political campaign against crime and get rid of his nagging wife. After that little escapade, Abattoir managed to slip away from Arkham like a master magician and hatched a plan for some unholy ritual to gain immortality. How does one achieve immortality, you ask? By killing 200 birds, 400 cows, and 600 people. I guess he's got some ancient recipe book for becoming immortal. But Batman's always one step ahead of the game. He foiled Abattoir's sick plan yet again and set him right back to Arkham, where he belongs, in a padded cell far away from innocent birds, cows, and humans. Jane Doe. She's a serial killer with a thirst for new identities, like a shopaholic at a shoe sale. She goes around offing people left and right until she finds the perfect fit. It's like a real-life game of Guess Who, but with way more dire consequences. Her real name and origins are as mysterious as a magician's card trick. Who is she? Where did she come from? Nobody knows. And she's not exactly handing out business cards with her personal info. But what's really gnarly is her appearance. she's missing all her skin with exposed muscle tendons all over her body. In Gotham City, she's got quite the to-do list, committing murders like it's her day job. And when Batman finally catches up with her, off she goes to the Elizabeth Arkham Asylum, where, let's be honest, half of Gotham's nuttiest villains hang out. Now, here's the truly scary part. Her ability to impersonate others is downright uncanny. She's like a human copy machine able to mimic body language, speech patterns, and even personalities. It's like she's taking identity theft to a whole new level. Mr. Teeth. Mr. Teeth, the creepiest, toothiest villain you ever did see. Let me start by saying we don't know much about this guy's backstory. It's like trying to solve a riddle from the Riddler himself. But what we do know is that his crimes first surfaced when he went on a teeth-gathering spree that would make a dentist cringe. He'd remove teeth from people and then implant them right back into their stomachs. I'm talking a twisted dental procedure that gives new meaning to the term stomachache. The Portland police were quick to dub him the Teeth Eater, and I don't blame them. But wait, it gets even crazier. After his Teeth Eater phase, he decided to take his show on the road and become an assassin for hire. And of course, he needed a snappy new name to match his horrifying personality. Enter Mr. Teeth. Catchy, right? And you guessed it, fellas, he didn't give up his stomach tooth implant hobby either. It's like his calling card, leaving his victims with a souvenir they'll never forget. Dr. Death. Dr. Death is the guy who was practically the welcome committee for Batman's crime-fighting career. Now, you might think his name sounds like something out of a heavy metal band, but this dude's no rock star. He's more like a mad scientist with a villainous twist. In his debut appearance in Detective Comics number 29, way back in the day, Dr. Death whips up a deadly chemical agent from pollen extract. And what's he planning to do with this lethal concoction? Oh, just your average extortion scheme to milk some moolah from Gotham City's wealthiest citizen. But here's the thing, Dr. Death's no one-trick pony. Throughout the series, he's been reinterpreted like a comic book chameleon, getting more makeovers than a Kardashian's wardrobe. One minute he's concocting poisonous potions, the next he's pulling off crazy schemes to take down Batman. And trust me, Gotham's Dark Knight doesn't need any more nuisances. He's got a whole rogues gallery to deal with. Marvelous verdict. In the dark and twisted world of the Batman universe, psychotic serial killers abound, each more chilling than the last. From the deranged mind of the Joker to the haunting presence of Professor Pig, these villains leave a trail of terror in their wake. Their twisted motives and gruesome acts send shivers down our spines, reminding us how fragile sanity is and the darkness that lurks within the human psyche. In simple words, these serial killer villains are way more crazier than your average supervillain. It's less about their goals and more about how they do it. It's truly bone-chilling. Hope you're as terrified as I am. Until next time, fellas, stay scared. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.